Rabbi Yaakov Bala Turin, about 700 years ago, in Orach Chaim, Ilchot Pesach, Siman 430, asks, why is the Shabbat before Pesach called Shabbat HaGadol? Why is it called Shabbat HaGadol? Now this year is an exceptional time where Shabbat HaGadol is actually the same day as Pesach. Usually it's a week before. Either way, it's called Shabbat HaGadol. So Bala Turin says, why is it called Shabbat HaGadol? Answer is, because of the miracle of the Korban Pesach, where the Egyptians were unable to respond to Am Yisrael because of the fear that was instilled in them, despite Am Yisrael slaughtering their God. To give you a little bit of background, in Sefer Shmot, the book of Exodus, Am Yisrael is commanded right before they leave Egypt. Am Yisrael is commanded to slaughter the god of one of the gods of the Egyptians. In Parashat Bo, chapter 12, verse number 3, says, "Ba'asor lachodesh hazeh v'yikchu lahem ish seh lebet avot seh labayit." On the 10th of this month, they shall take for themselves each man a lamb or a kid for each father's house. And then it says in verse number 6, "Lemishmeret ad 14 yom lachodesh hazeh v'shachatu oto kol ke'al adat Yisrael ben 40." That Am Yisrael will keep this goat or sheep until the 14th of the month. And then on the 14th of the month, they shall slaughter it in the afternoon. And take the blood and put it on the doorpost. So now, part one is, what's the deal with this whole thing? Now everyone knows, or should know, that one of the false gods of the Egyptians was the goat. They prayed to it. So here Kadosh Baruch Hu says to Am Yisrael, you have to kill this goat. But not just kill it. Take the goat, tie it to your beds for 4 days. What's it going to do for 4 days? Scream and yell. Well, yeah, but if it screams and yells, it's going to get the attention of the Egyptians. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I want. I want the Egyptians to come, see it, and when they see it, I want you to tell them what you're doing. You're going to slaughter their God. Now, when the Egyptians saw it, they weren't able to talk. They weren't able to respond. And this, Rabotai, was a miracle. And the Baal Turim says this miracle of them being scared of Am Yisrael, that's the miracle, that's why Shabbat HaGadol. Rabbi Yosef Karo, the Bet Yosef, says, but why is it called Shabbat HaGadol? Because the Torah says that it was Hashem commanded Am Yisrael to do this on the 10th of the month, and to keep the sheep or the goat for 4 days. So we know that in the Seder Olam, in chapter 5, Perek 5, it says that this day, this 10th of the month, was actually Shabbat. Shabbat. Keep this goat for 4 days, slaughter it, that's the Pesach, that's when there's Makat Bechorot, that's when Hashem after that is going to kill the firstborn of the Egyptians. And then Am Yisrael left Egypt the following day, which was a Thursday. So the question that the Bet Yosef asks is, how come it's called Shabbat HaGadol, even though it was really, the first day was Shabbat, but really they kept it for the 4th day, for 4 days. Why didn't it was called maybe Yom Rishon HaGadol, Sunday the big day, or Tuesday the big day, or Thursday? Why the Shabbat? So the Bet Yosef explains that it was because on the biggest part of the miracle was on the first day. Because Am Yisrael was petrified to do this whole thing. Was petrified to do this whole thing. Why? They've been slaves for 116 years. And they've been tortured. They've been murdered. They've been done. All nightmares on planet Earth happened over there. Now you're going to turn around to your slave master, to your boss for the last 100+ years, and slaughter his idol? So they were scared to death. But the biggest fear was on the first day. After the Egyptians saw that what was happening and still did not react miraculously, the Jews calmed down, and it was easier by the second day. When the Egyptians came around the second day and they told them, "What are you doing?" They said, "Oh, I'm going to slaughter your God over here." "Oh, that's what you said yesterday." "Yeah." "Oh, okay, I got it." And it was easier. By the fourth day, it was not even a big deal. That's why it was the first day is the day that's celebrated. Now, interestingly, Rabbi Ephraim says, look at the musar that you can learn from this. Am Yisrael has been fighting for the truth since we received it at Mount Sinai, but even before it from our forefathers Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and even before them from Noach, and even before that Adam HaRishon. But nonetheless, we received our Torah, we've been fighting for it, and that's part of the reason why another name for the Torah is Sefer Milchamot, which is the book of wars, the war of God, the war of the truth. And the chotemet, the signature of HaShem is emet, is truth. And Am Yisrael has been fighting for this truth against all enemies that ever existed. And the bigger they are, the more likely they are to be our enemy. And that's just the reality. And Am Yisrael has been fighting for that truth. And even though you'll have different parts of Am Yisrael recuse themselves from being part of Am Yisrael, stop keeping Torah, stop keeping mitzvot, sometimes even join the enemies, join the other nations. But the point is that the foundation of Am Yisrael, the people of Am Yisrael, is still Baruch Hashem alive and well, as the Kadosh Baruch Hu promised. The idol worshippers, on the other hand, without anybody fighting them, abandoned their own gods like people throw away food. Look at the Egyptians. Egyptians were, at one point, not too long before this whole event, were the most powerful people in the world. And after one day of seeing that their God, their idol, is about to be slaughtered, did they come to terms with it already? One day is all it took for them to give up any respect, any care, any concern about this false god of theirs. Just one day. While Am Yisrael has fought all of the heretics of the world, all of the apikosim, all of the atheists, all of the false religions and everything else, and we still fight to this day, the idol worshippers abandon their gods in a second. Just give them an excuse to do it and they'll do it. And that's actually why it's easier to make a non-Jew into a Jew than to actually help a Jew do tshuva. It's easier to help somebody convert to Judaism than to actually help a person do tshuva. Needless to say, we do both, but the point being is, that's just the reality. It's a reality. When something is false, you don't need that much to remove it. If the person is a person of seeking the truth. Let me know what you think, and make sure to share it, because other people need to learn too.